Hello, everybody. Recently, I just bought a titanium mitten gauntlet from Medieval Extreme, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a quick little review of the item in case any of you guys out there are looking to purchase something like this. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing that you will obviously notice between this gauntlet and the steel gauntlet, this is very well loved as you can see, is the weight. Hard to really emphasize that on camera, but this guy definitely a lot heavier than this. This is actually not too much heavier than a boxing glove. So if you've ever done any kind of boxing, kickboxing sort of thing, this is only an ounce or two heavier than a 16-ounce boxing glove. So that is the primary reason you would buy something like this. The reason I purchased this, especially for my left hand, is I like to throw a lot of hooks, a lot of jabs, a lot of just spammy punches coming from boxing background in armored combat. Yeah, I just like to use my left hand a lot. And something like this was just really tiring out, especially my shoulder, trying to throw a lot of punches with it. So I thought I'd spring and purchase this. So right off the bat, love the weight. Being able to throw punches much better, especially throwing combos like if you throw your straight followed by a hook, it's a lot easier to pull the gauntlet back, whereas with something like this, weighs about 1.2 pounds. Every time you push, you're almost like the weight of it almost pulls you, and pulling it back, you know, it wears out your arm a lot. So yeah, one of the key differences between a mitten and a gauntlet, as you can see, the gauntlet is very flexible, has a good range of motion, so you can grab weapons, you can switch hands, do all that sort of thing. This is very limited, so this is good for, you know, having a buckler in your hand where you're not trying to, like an axe, trying to switch hand positions all the time, or if you have an axe in one hand, you're trying to grab it. It's not very good for doing those sort of things. So that is one thing. There's less protection. If you can see right here, there's kind of an opening right here, but again, this is intended to be used in conjunction with a buckler of sorts. And honestly, the lack of range and motion can honestly be a good thing sometimes, because if a lot of times common hand injuries happen from an instinctual thing we do as humans. If someone's coming to attack us, we put our hands up like this and say, "Ooh, stop!" And then you get hit right in the palm, and that's bad news bears for you. So something to keep in mind if you're looking to buy something like this. A full gauntlet will have much more, you know, maneuverability with the grabbing and that sort of thing. And obviously less protection, but very lightweight. Another thing I like about it, this is, I don't know if you can see, but this is a leather, I don't know what you call it, glove, inner glove on the gauntlet, which is nice, adds a little bit extra protection. If something were to hit you in the hand, the leather, you know, adds a little bit of padding to it. The padding on the inside is very nice as well, which is great to see. So those things I like. This little, I don't know if you can see it that well, but there's this little strap right here. That's really great. I like the material that they used here, because a very common thing that happens, especially with the thumbs, that I can show you on my other gauntlet, is sometimes the leather, I don't know if that comes through, but the leather gets chewed up pretty bad here. And yeah, like here, you can see it better from this angle. The leather that holds your thumb in place can get pretty chewed up. And as you see, I've jerry-rigged something to keep my thumb in place. This is not authentic to history because it's tape and there's other strapping to it. So some organizations might poo-poo you for this, but historical accuracy be damned when considering the safety of my thumb. So I go with this to help protect that. But on this one from Medieval Extreme, and again, this is not a sponsored video, I'm just giving you my honest opinions on that. It has this nice, I don't even know what material it is, but it's a nice durable material in addition to the leather here, if you can see that. See what I'm talking about here. So that's nice. That gives me good safety in thinking that my thumb isn't going to pop out and take a sword to it and break my thumb. Because I don't like to break bones, believe it or not. So something I want to add is when you buy something from Medieval Extreme or any other vendor for that matter, they ask you to take the measurements. And this particular measurement is very snug. When I first got it, it was a little too snug, but also, you know, this is leather, so this will break in, and eventually it may very well, you know, fit like a glove and have no problems. But maybe if you're looking to buy something like this, maybe add a little ½ inch or so to the measurements if you like your glove to be a little more roomy, because this is very snug on my hands, and you can see the way this kind of tapers down, kind of like crunches the fingers, if that makes any sense. But again, as this leather sort of molds to my hand shape, that should be less and less of a problem. But again, just something I'm noticing. The build quality is excellent, very high level stuff. You know, Medieval Extreme is one of the biggest manufacturers of armor, so they know what they're doing. And this went for about 250, 270 bucks. So pretty cheap for a titanium gauntlet, or I guess titanium mitten, because titanium gauntlets can be $500 for just one, versus a steel gauntlets, you could probably get a pair for 400 bucks. So the titanium definitely adds to the cost, but again, I can't emphasize enough how much the weight difference. This is about 1.2 pounds, and this is about 2.2 pounds. And now you can say, well, it's only a difference of a pound. But if you've ever done any kind of exercise holding weights out, you know, when your arm is fully extended, 5 pounds can be a lot to be holding up. So any amount of weight reduction at the end of your hand, the end of lever, as they say, is a huge thing. And like I said, you know, the weight is almost identical to a boxing glove, which I'm very used to. So being able to throw, you know, combinations is a lot easier. And filmed some footage of me using gauntlet versus this. And the biggest takeaway I can give you after doing that is the initial punch feels about the same. You know, it's a little slower, but the biggest difference in terms of the weight is the return. So once I punch, pulling it back to my face is so much faster with this versus my full steel one. You know, extending and pulling back, and especially when throwing like round punches, like a hook. When I pull my hand out here, I really start feeling the weight of this, and it takes a lot of extra effort. And even just in the short time of testing the difference out, I definitely was feeling it in my shoulders a lot more, versus, again, the titanium. It's basically like cheating. You know, it's like you got a cheat code on. So big fan. Makes a huge difference. I have yet to use it in practice. Maybe I can make a follow-up video after I've used it a few times, tell you how I feel in combat. Again, there's a little right here, makes me a little worried. As you can see on this one, much more protection, especially in this particular spot. I might try to add a little steel there, just to extra protection, because I like to use a very small I like to use a very small buckler, which allows me better grappling and better punching and that sort of thing. So yeah, generally speaking, the weight is great. The build quality, very, very high quality. It's very snug. So if you want to get something, maybe add just like a 1/4 inch or a couple centimeters when you're giving them, especially for the fingers. Everything else is fine. The thumb is fine, but the ends of the fingers are a little tight because of the way this kind of tapers down. It gets a little crowded for my fingers, so maybe on that measurement, you wanna give a little extra margin for them. But then, you know, the leather will break in, and it'll be less and less a problem the more I use it. But overall, I'm happy with my purchase so far. It'll be nice. I know the guys at the club know me for my left hook spam. I'm just spamming that left hook over and over again. So now it's going to be that much more annoying. So yeah, anyway, happy with my purchase. Thanks, Medieval Extreme. Again, this is not a sponsored video. Just wanted to give you guys my thoughts if you're looking to buy any sort of thing like this. Again, titanium gauntlets, probably would not recommend for melees or axe fights, that sort of thing. Steel going to give you more protection overall, but for weight to protection, for how much this weighs, it's very close in protection to steel. So in pro fights and in duels where there's less big poleaxe smashing your hand kind of a thing, you can get away with a lighter gauntlet. And especially in pro fights where endurance is the name of the game, honestly. Stamina is so important. It'll save your shoulders. You'll be able to punch faster and more effectively. So yeah, so anyway, give it a thumbs up if I could. It's not a whole lot of movement, as I mentioned before. But yeah, overall, happy with the purchase. I think they do good stuff over there at Medieval. This is the first piece of armor I've gotten from Medieval Extreme. All my stuff has been secondhand, so I can't tell you who made this gauntlet. And if you're new to the sport, highly, highly recommend trying to pick up some pieces secondhand. It's a lot cheaper, and a lot of the guys, you know, at least in my experience, guys selling it secondhand will give you a pretty good deal, especially if it's staying within the club. You know, if you're getting it from one of your club members, you know, they'll give you a homie discount, whatever. So I highly recommend doing that. So, but I just wanted to share my experience with buying a new piece of armor from Medieval Extreme. They're the biggest manufacturer of armor in the scene. So yeah, anyway, have a good day, and happy whacking. All right.